Is this what it feels like to be a Mets fan? I mean, like just losing when you expect to win? Because
Yes.
I feel an awful lot like a Mets fan right now. All right, everybody, welcome to Yank Your Mets. I'm your host, Phil Wolf. I'm joined as always by my co-host, Chad, Mr. Met Vossen. Chad, how you doing?
I am spectacular.
Yeah, you might be. I mean, your team has done excellent things since the beginning of the All-Star break. How are you feeling overall?
I'm happy with where we're at. I mean, a 6-0 stretch, you can't really complain with that, right? Ever since we've started recording this, we haven't lost a game. So let's never stop recording.
I wish I could say the same thing. The Yankees have they've been in free fall, and it's been a miserable 2 months now at this point. I don't know if you can tell, but I've gone gray here. Like this was red at the beginning of June.
You were just a spring chicken when at the beginning of the year, and now the Yankees have aged you.
They really have.
Yes, and this used to be all gray, and the Mets are now making me. I'm Benjamin Buttoning this. It's fantastic.
The color's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I can offer a PSA to anyone who is looking to go gray, like, you know, don't waste your time with dyes or expensive medical interventions. Just watch the Yankees starting in June, and you'll start to see results.
Yeah,
root hard for them, and you'll start to see results that you never thought possible with the traditional follicle treatments. And if you miss June, don't worry, they'll underperform the entire month of July also at no extra cost. And but if you want to go completely white, just stay tuned for Aaron Boone's post-game press conference. He'll say things that drive you absolutely insane.
Oh boy, you've already turned now you're going deeper down the anti-Boone path.
I don't want to, but I don't know who else to go to now. I mean, you know, we have Aaron Boone because we didn't like Joe Girardi because he was too hard on our players. Mm-hmm. And so the whole idea is bring in a manager who is going to support his players, have their backs, never really throw them under the bus. And that's what we have with Aaron Boone, but that starts from the top. I mean, that's kind of the institutional mentality. Like, we want players, coaches, you know, always be positive, never get too high, never get too low. And if that's the mark of a great manager, then Aaron Boone is the best.
All-time great.
He's an all-time great, but I think fans are kind of tired of listening to, you know, all of the nonsense when they see the product on the field is contrary to what he's telling us. Like, we're a great defensive ball club, and meanwhile we have 4 unforced errors in 1 inning. I mean, it just doesn't add up.
It's interesting though, what I like. You have the weather going on. It's like I can hear the storm clouds. You've got like dark. It's beautiful here where I'm sitting, and it is bright and sunny, and it is a microcosm of our seasons. I was just going to observing.
That's a great observation. I think the rain cloud is just above this house. I look down the street and it's like
it's gorgeous.
Sunny.
That's where
Florida.
I am. I'm waving
That's
to
where
you
you
at the edge of the wave of the rain cloud.
Don't worry, it's coming your way. The storm is coming your way, and expect the worst.
Oh yes, expect post-game pressers of epic proportions.
I've texted you offline and asked, like, can we sell? Is it time to sell? Because, like, the last 2 months have been awful, and you're like, no. And then Judge went ahead and he got hurt. He's got a strained
Took it upon
UCL.
himself.
And, you know, is it torn? No, but he's going to miss at least 10 days before he can even throw. And he's going to come back as a DH, which means Stanton's got to play the field.
Heck yeah.
Oh, God. I mean, you know, and look, at a certain point in his career, I think Stanton was probably a better than average outfielder. He's just not that guy anymore. And when your team is struggling defensively like us, the idea of putting Stanton back in left field just is terrifying.
That's to me, that's always been the downside of getting these DHs and having these guys that you like. He's a DH. He's going to be a great DH and DH only, but do not put him in the field. And then in this instance where, you know, you can flash back to Harper or whatever, now here it is, Judge, and you cannot, like, he has to DH. Like, you cannot not play him.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's if he comes back.
You're kind of screwed.
We're screwed without him. I mean, we were losing games with him, so I don't know where we're going to be without him for the next 10 days. And that's the minimum, right? I mean, he sat out
Yeah.
yesterday. His his IL, sorry, probably retroactive to yesterday. So he's got 1 day off. But who's to say that he's going to be fine in 10 days anyway? I don't know that
I'll say it. He's going to
You'll
be
say
fine.
it. Fine. You'll say it. He says he doesn't feel it when he swings, and that he could still hit, but that would just prolong his recovery. And the Yankees have proven that they're not one to rush anyone back from injury. In fact, they take probably too long, I think, for some of these cases. But with Judge, you just have to be absolutely sure. So,
Oh, yeah.
I just hope we can stay afloat. I think we're 6.5 now at the time of this recording, 6.5 games out of first, trending in the wrong direction, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good. We've lost 2 ugly games to the Phillies. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
I know. I heard Mets fans on WFAN actually rooting for Philly to beat New York. I couldn't believe it.
Idiots. Why? Like, they're not. You guys, like, sure, we have the rivalry. We're in a completely separate division. Like, it has no impact whether or not you win or lose. I mean,
None.
it does have an impact on our season. Like, just push the Phillies away.
How do you feel about your trade deadline pickups?
I like it. I mean, like I think I said it last week. I was like, he's going to tinker with the bullpen, and 2-time All-Star, like, seems to do like the word on the street is he does well on the clutch. We'll see what that's like. We'll see what that New York microscope is like. But we didn't give up anything for him. Like our 19th prospect and an unranked prospect who happened to throw 100 or something like that. So you got to give up something to get something. The guy we did give up might be okay. He might turn into Pete Crow Armstrong. Who knows? But I dig it. I mean, we need help in the pen. And specifically Brooks Rowley coming back from Tommy John could not be the only lefty in the pen. And now Mendy has 2 options, 2 high leverage options, which is nice. So I love it. How about you got your help at third?
Something is better than nothing. Look, and this is why I asked if we could sell, and I thought we should sell, and I believe that even more so now that Judge is going to be out for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
There's just too many holes to plug. I mean, third base has been one for the last couple of years. We've sort of found Band-Aids for that position. We need help in the bullpen. We need starting pitching. I don't know that you can fix all of that. Keep your minor league system intact with guys like Jones and Lombard Jr. and Schlittler, who's come up and had 2 really good starts. I mean, these are guys who you just believe can produce at the major league level. Lombard's still several years away, but I mean, Spencer Jones is crushing in the minor leagues. He had 3 home runs in 1 game the other day, and people are already talking about him coming up and kind of filling in for Judge in the interim, if he's ready to go.
You don't want to do that to him.
I don't think you want to either, as much as I think it would excite the fan base. It's just, he just got to AAA. He just got to AAA.
Yeah.
And that's a huge jump. I mean, from AA to AAA is big, but I think from AAA to the majors is such a large leap. If that goes south, which it could very easily do, you run the risk of kind of ruining him. And so I think he needs some more time in AAA. I will say I think that this is an opportunity for Cashman to sort of sell without selling. We've seen teams do that before. And, the moves we've made so far in picking up Brian McMahon, I think he's an adequate bat. It could be, sort of a Scott Brocious, always a defensive guy, but didn't really have much of a bat, and he comes to New York and he's kind of one of our more clutch hitters. So I'm hoping that that's the case. He got a hit yesterday. And then Ahmad Rosario. I mean, he's a guy that you're familiar with, but just quality, bat control, gets on base, slaps the ball, plays good defense. I think another good pick, didn't give up a whole lot. So we're filling some holes. That's infield depth, but still so much work to do. And I don't know how you do that and really try to compete without giving up some of your bigger guns in the minor leagues.
Yeah, no, that's always the hardest thing. And I when Garrett Cole went down at the beginning of the year, I wondered how you guys would do over the season. And I think if anything, that made Judge that much more critical to you, where it's like, well, you're going to need to score, and then you take that bat out of your lineup, and that's a that's a tall order. Let's take the best bat in baseball out of that lineup that already lost Juan. That's yeah, Jazz Chisholm is a nice player, but
You're just rubbing salt in the wound now.
am I?
You already lost one. That's actually a great segue, Chad, for this next segment. The best and worst free agent signings in our respective histories. I'll let you kick it off with your worst or third worst, however you want to start.
Yeah, we'll go with third worst. There's one that jumps to mind pretty quickly for everybody, so I'll jump on that one because I don't think technically he's the worst, and that would be Bobby Bonilla. You just got to be the right person, and you got to have the right temperament and personality to handle New York. And I think, to me, he just didn't. There were some ungodly expectations. We were coming off of, the 86 series, and then 88, we went back to the playoffs, and, we kind of started hitting the skids a bit, and it was time to sign some free agents, and boy, did we sign some free agents in the early 90s. And Bobby Bo was supposed to be the guy. He was supposed to be, not Juan Soto, but he was the guy that was supposed to turn the franchise around and lead us back to glory. And instead, he basically took, a drill to the middle of the boat and drilled a hole in it. But if you go back and look at his stats, they're not that bad. Like, they're just not. And I think the expectations and how he handled them were the unfortunate thing. So because his performance, like, stat-wise on the field was not as, like, catastrophic as the other two on my list, I have Bobby Bonilla as my third worst free agent signing.
The funny thing to me about Bobby Bo is that you're still paying him.
I get a text from friends who were like, "Happy Bobby Bonilla Day! It's July 1st every year."
1.35 million more in the bank, whatever the number is. I think, to your point of expectations, and some of the people on my list will sort of reflect that same idea. The numbers aren't terrible. It's really more about weight against the expectation of what that player is going to be coming in versus what they give you on the field. Number 3 on my list is kind of along those same lines. I went with Brian McCann. McCant.
Okay.
And just to preface this entire list, I went with players, that I saw play, that I remember. You could probably reach back further to, the 70s and 80s where I wasn't, the Yankees were not top of mind for me. I'm just going off pure, like, I saw this guy play. I remember him being a disappointment. And Brian McCann, I think, certainly fits that mold. He'd been a star with the Atlanta Braves, all-star catcher. When we signed him, I think we had kind of a black hole at the catching position. But, we got him when he was like 30 years old. And I think, if I'm Cashman, he's coming off a year. He signed in 2013 and coming off a kind of a bounce-back year with Atlanta after posting a 2.8 WAR, which was up from 1.1 the year before. So he was coming off an all-star year. Didn't play terribly. There were some positives. I think he was regarded as one of the better pitch framers. He had a good arm. He threw out base stealers at a pretty good rate, had 20-plus home runs in his first 3 years. But the contract was for 5 years. He didn't finish out that contract. We ended up shipping him off to Houston before the 2017 season. And sure enough, he goes and he wins a World Series, right, with the Astros. And so I think that, more than anything, kind of just burns my butt a little bit. I'm just like, you didn't do it for us, and you're going to take the Astros, the cheating Astros, to the World Series. But his batting average was like 235. His OPS is 723. Again, like not terrible numbers. Not awful.
Not great. Not terrible, but not
Not terrible, but not great. But again, expectations, right? What were the expectations? He did not live up to those expectations. Maybe the one silver lining with McCann was that he was sort of the bridge to Gary Sanchez, who started off really well with the Yankees. And so I think probably a great mentor for a young player. right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
knew the game and probably had a big hand in shaping Gary Sanchez's early career with the Yankees. So for that, I applaud him and I thank him. But then, beyond that, good riddance.
Nice. Yeah, and I think it's those expectations, and if you're going to sign that kind of a contract, you're going to have the expectations, and that's the unfortunate human side of it, that you don't know. But to sign a catcher at 30, that's always a tough one. All right, cool. So should we move on to number 2?
Number 2.
My number 2 was Jason Bay. Coming off a red hot season with the red hot Red Sox. With Jason Bay, I mean, obviously he just had those expectations and he just didn't live up to them. And it was, was it the fences at the old Citi Field? David Wright struggled as well at points, but like he just didn't have the production, and he just was never all that solid, and he just kind of hit a cliff. So that's for those reasons. I have him as my second one because that was just, for the amount that we signed him for and what we wound up getting, not good,
not great. Yeah, just kind of looking at it now, he had a 5.2 WAR in 2009 with the Red Sox at age 30.
Yeah.
So you think you're getting a grade A repeat All-Star, putting up great numbers. He had 36 home runs, 119 RBIs, and that's down to 6 home runs and 47 in 2010. In 95 games. So already a shortened season, but like the power just gone. Absolutely gone.
There were whispers of the fence was the issue, like it was a bigger field so he couldn't hit the home run.
Yeah.
But still, like to drop off that precipitously is just not good.
Not good. Yeah, I mean, he might be a guy that a lot of Mets fans put as number 1. I hear his name referenced like all the time.
Yeah, and I always just feel so bad about doing that to people because it's not like, it's not like I sit around and be like, who that accountant that we signed, that we had in 2014, boy, was that guy just a mess. He couldn't put spreadsheets together. But there you have it. That's my number 2.
Yeah.
Who do you have as your Yankee number 2?
This guy probably could have easily been number 1 if he were a position player. But I'm going with Carl Pavano.
Okay.
Carl Pavano coming off a great year with the then Florida Marlins in 2004, made his first and only All-Star appearance, had a 5.3 WAR, back-to-back seasons with 200 innings pitched. I mean, this guy was supposed to be a workhorse. The contract for, back then and when he signed in 2004 with the Yankees, 4 years, $40 million. By today's standards, that's nothing. Nothing close to the pitcher that he was with Florida. We signed him for the 4-year contract. He missed all of 2006 with injuries to like various parts of his body, his elbow, his ribs, his back, his buttocks. I mean, like, I don't know how you injure your buttocks, but Pavano found a way to do it. What I remember most about him was that he would have like 1 or 2 really good starts. He'd come back from injury. You'd think he's going to turn it around. He's got a couple of really quality starts under his belt, and then something else went wrong. Their focus back then was offense. Like, they had no shortage of bats back then. It was like trying to find stable pitching, and Pavano was supposed to be a stabilizing force. And he just fell short of that. He went to the Twins like early 2010s and actually had pretty good back-to-back seasons, and but he was healthy, and that's really it for a starting pitcher. You just have to stay healthy. There's too many things that you can mess up with your mechanics, and if you get all that right and you're effective and you can locate, you can have success. And I think that's the pitcher he became later in his career. He just couldn't put it together in New York.
And you never know, right? You're not in those meetings, like, because then, is he pushing too hard? Does he come back too early? Does he want, like, you're setting yourself up, like, you have this contract, you have this team that believes in, like, we are signing you to execute this. And it is more prevalent than ever, especially as a free agent when you're coming in to live up to those expectations and to meet them. And to not do that, I mean, these are professional athletes. Like their whole lives, they have been the best on their team. They have been expected to do X, Y, and Z, and they clearly met those expectations if you're playing in major leagues. And he had that success in Florida. And I just always remember listening to WFAN, all of those calls about Carl Pavano. Oh, he's gonna turn around. This is it, and they just never did. Time for number one.
Number one.
Number one. I mean, yeah, you can hot swap any of these gems on my list. Number one, I went with Vince Coleman. Vince Coleman, only because, like, you know, growing up as like a far less educated baseball fan in the 80s and you know, the late 80s and the 90s and all that. I mean, this guy was, 300 stolen. He led the league every year in stolen bases. And he would hit decent average. He would, get on base. But Home Slice had 3 years of 100 stolen bases, led the league every year, comes to the Mets and just shits the proverbial bed and just cannot put it together. And he somehow got involved with the fire, like throwing a firecracker at a reporter. Do you remember that thing?
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember it happening in the moment.
Were you there?
Yeah. But I've certainly heard reference to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, I mean, to me, it was just like in terms of what you think you're going to get and what, like, that whole team. So he kind of just embodied all of that to me. You just expected to get the speed demon that, he was just going to terrorize pitching staffs. And, it was Ricky Henderson and Vince Coleman. You could not find a better, leadoff batter. And pretty sure that was his one All-Star year where he actually hit more than just a couple home runs. He had like 6 or something like that. So it's like, all right, this guy's good. He's got wheels, and just not the right person in the right place. And I think he had 37 stolen bases, maybe his first
spot
year.
On,
but
37 on the nose.
All right, there we go. Yeah, look at that.
That's down from 77 the year before.
Yeah, no, exactly. So half the amount of stolen bases. I'm sure there were less times because then he started getting injuries, and then firecrackers were coming out. He certainly was not a firecracker at the top of that lineup. But, I mean, I just remember game 1 of I think it was 92 season when Bobby Bowe hit the home run off of Lee Smith. And it's like, we're never going to lose. We're going to go perfect. Bobby Bowe came in 2 home runs in his first game as a Met. He hit it off the closer that, one of the game's best closers, and we're never going to lose. And, yeah, we lost a lot.
I mean, look, it's hard. He, went from, just looking at the numbers, 124 games played in his last year in St. Louis to 72 and 71 and 92 his next 3 years with the Mets. Mm-hmm. So injuries sound like they certainly played a role. And when you're fast, that's, I don't know what the injuries were. But I think that's it.
I think there were. I think it was hamstrings. That's not a good thing because he was 28 when he came over. 29?
Yeah, 28. He came over in his 28, 29 season. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he wasn't like ancient or old, but like I guess flashing back to that era, you were getting up there. Like in the late 80s, early 90s, I mean, just like you would fall apart, at 30, right. that was it. So we're like, yep, let's sign him up for, as many seasons as we can.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just never materialized.
I don't think it's any surprise who I'm choosing for number one. It's Jacoby Ellsbury.
There he is.
There he is. Everything we've said about expectations applies to Jacoby Ellsbury. We signed him in 2014. He had posted a 5.6 WAR with Boston the previous year. We get him for 7 years, $153 million. The big thing I remember about Ellsbury, and I was jazzed for Ellsbury. I remember being very excited. One, because he was a stud defensively, super speedy. We needed a leadoff guy. And we were taking him from a rival. It's like,
yep.
And I think Boston might have made him an offer. I have to go back and look that up. But the idea that he was no longer going to be a Red Sox after he had killed us as a Red Sox felt very, very nice. It was nice to take one of their star players away from them. He's coming over to the Bronx. We're going to have a lightning rod at the top of the order. And it just didn't happen. Like,
nope.
It's... man, he was plagued with injuries. He played out of 972 possible games over the 7 years. He played in about half of them, a little over half, in 520. And it didn't end well because he couldn't stay on the field. And in the midst of his rehab process, he went to some private facility that he chose, didn't talk to the organization about it. The Yankees filed a grievance against him in 2019 for using the outside facility without permission. They later settled, but it was not an amicable end. And he played with Judge. I was looking at it. I was kind of interested to see that his last year was 2017, and he and Judge are in the outfield together. And when you think about that, for as long as like Judge has been crushing it, to see that there's an overlap between him and Jacoby Ellsbury, there's a tie from this team to Ellsbury, and that's kind of scary. But yeah, sure enough, he was in the outfield with Aaron Hicks and Aaron Judge, and it didn't end well. And then after that, he just disappeared. That was it. Nobody's heard or seen him.
Where is he?
Has anyone checked in on Jacoby Ellsbury?
Where'd he go?
All right, should we get into our top free agent signings?
I'll let you go first on this. I bat leadoff. What's the proper
batting leadoff? I'll bat leadoff in this during this segment. Yeah.
But what's the past tense of batting leadoff?
Batted leadoff. Led off.
Batted leadoff.
Leading off.
I led off.
You led off.
I just dropped the batted. Or batting, or any version of bat. Anyway, go ahead.
So for our best free agent pickups, I'm going back a ways to 1993 with one Wade Boggs.
Oh, yeah.
He played for 5 seasons, from 93 to 97. Was just a batting savant. The guy knew how to hit.
That guy was nasty.
He didn't have a ton of pop, but he didn't need it. The Yankees were just starting to kind of come out of their late 80s, early 90s funk where they were just atrocious. and the Boggs signing really kind of marked the beginning of the dynasty, I think, because in 94 the Yankees were competitive and I think had the best record in baseball at the time of the strike, the Yankees and the Expos, if I recall. And Boggs was right in the middle of that. Maybe the most iconic World Series image in 96 with him riding the horse around the outfield track is still like one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen on a baseball field. I didn't think you could do that. And I think, more than his just performance on the field, like I said, he sort of like started that whole like winning legacy again in New York. He helped bring up guys like Derek Jeter, Bernie Williams, Jorge Posada, Mariano Rivera. Like he was that stabilizing veteran presence in the clubhouse for who became, the players that became the core four. And if you asked them today, they'd probably say, yeah, man, Boggs was that guy. Like he taught you how to play the game the right way. You play hard, you learn how to hit the right way. And I don't think you can overstate the importance of Boggs in those mid-90s Yankees teams. So I don't know what his contract was, but I just know that
who cares?
It doesn't matter. The Yankees got a steal, and I think he's an all-time great Yankee. He went into the Hall of Fame as a Red Sox, and that's fine. I think most people think of him as a Red Sox. Certainly nobody thinks of him as a Tampa Bay Ray.
A Devil Ray.
A Devil Ray.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Were they a Devil Ray then?
He did play, I think. Might have been their inaugural season. I'd have to go back and check. No, I think 97.
I just remember him with that, like the yellow and blue and whatever situation.
Exactly.
Purple and green with that, whatever that thing was.
Those lovely Devil Ray uniforms. Anyway, Wade Boggs coming in at number 3 on the all-time greatest free agent signings for the New York Yankees.
I had a difficult time. The two guys I think that I was struggling with the most were Bartolo Colon and Curtis Granderson, like in that 3 slot. So I'm going to cheat, and he is 2 for the number 3 slot. Bartolo, he would, like, to me, there was like low expectations. He's gonna be an innings eater, and he just comes in and just like he's that lightning in a bottle. Where this guy, like, he did the behind the back play, the home run, like there's just so many memorable Met moments from Bartolo Colon. The fact that he was only here for 2 years and I want to go into the halls of Met. I mean, just the city and the fan base just loved the guy, and you could not. There was in 2 years, 20 million, I think is what the deal was. And just the value that they got out of that. I'm pretty sure he probably had at least 20 wins between them. So I'd take those returns. So he was my, him and Granderson, Curdy Granderson,
The Grandy Man.
The Grandy Man. The Grandy Man. Oh, but he's just, I mean, what a classy dude. And what he meant to the team coming over when he did from where he did. Just, he never had those all-star caliber seasons, but he was just such a class act with the Mets, and just helped groom a lot of those, younger players, and he just played the game the right way. And I'm pretty sure he also said he went a true New York fan as a Mets fan or something along those lines.
I'll excuse that comment.
Yeah.
Because he had come from the Yankees.
Yep. So they're I didn't know where to put either one of them, and I guess I could leave my next one off the list. But whatever. So yeah, that's my 3-ish.
Look, that's a good pick. I liked Grandy with the Yankees. I thought he was a good player. Like you said, class act, always said the right thing, played the game the right way. And at 34, after posting a 1.2 WAR, he jumps up to 5.2 in 2015.
Oh, he did?
So yeah, and played almost a full season. So he, at 26 home runs, 70 RBIs, something about the New York water was working for him.
Yeah. I mean, he was a big reason why we went to the World Series.
Yeah. I think he's a great analyst. I think he's a great ambassador for the game. I mean,
he's just a good person.
Just a good dude. I also struggled on these next two. The more I thought about it, I had this guy kind of solidified the number 2 spot because he was the World Series MVP in 2009, came over from Japan, was nothing but just pure hitter. Hideki Matsui. Godzilla.
God bless.
He came over from Japan. He had already had a Hall of Fame career in Japan. He had hit 50 home runs in Japan. And while, we didn't really ever see those numbers in New York, he was a really great hitter. For his career, he hit 292, 370 on base, OPS of 852. But one of the numbers that's stuck out to me the most was his career. For his career, he struck out only 13.6% of the time, which for a guy who expect to hit home runs and have a ton of power is just incredible. Just a monster in the postseason. He was the first Japanese-born player to be named World Series MVP, and we got him for 3 years, $21 million. So Hideki Matsui really, really solidifies the number 2 spot, and just great guy, hometown favorite, and we don't win the World Series without him.
No, well, you might have. Who knows? No, absolutely not. He was one of those guys that, I mean, you had that run of just where we play the Subway Series every year, and you guys just had runs where you're just like, God, this lineup, good gravy, how are you supposed to get through it? But he was always the guy where you're like, who's on deck? Oh Christ, it's Matsui. We got to get this next guy out, because you just did not want him up in clutch situations because you knew he would come through. For me, number 2, statistically speaking, he wasn't that amazing, but I think signing Pedro was just all right, cool. Pedro chose us. He is at a point in his career where, it just was a nice sort of reinvigorating, all right, this team, we could do something here. It was just great having him on the bump, and you just knew that he was going to give you 110% or 100%, because he can't give 110, but he was going to give you everything. And he was just filthy, and he stuck up for his teammates, and he was just, yes, he was on the tail end of his career. I'm well aware of that. But It was just a great signing. Gosh, Mania was just like, yeah, this is our guy, and he chose us. Thanks, Pedro. That was nice of you.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, like you said, kind of the tail end of his career. Even pitched well his last year in Philadelphia in 2009, which was his last season. They went to the World Series and tried,
that worked.
Tried their best. Yeah, we tagged him in 2009 when we beat him. But always you can count on him for a great performance, gutsy performance, even if he didn't have it. It was Pedro. He was that smart a pitcher. Nice pick. Yeah, right.
All right, so who you did your two. Now who I think I know who your number one is, but why don't you go ahead and see if you can surprise me?
I'm going with CC Sabathia.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll admit, I don't remember being like super jazzed about the signing. And I don't know why. Maybe it was partly because we always beat him. I don't remember being like super enthusiastic, but good God, did he change my mind very, very quickly. He pitched for us for 11 seasons, came in as, through gas, had really, really good stuff. And, at the time when he signed the contract, it was the largest contract for a pitcher. It was, I think, 7 years, $161 million, largest contract for a pitcher. Went 19-8 with a 3.37 ERA in 2009. Won the ALCS MVP. Helped a big part of getting us the Yankees World Series title. In the flurry of moves that really Cashman made. The first World Series a lot of fans give Cashman credit for is 2009 because, the core four kind of came up with Stick Michael. Cashman was a part of the organization, but Cashman wasn't the lead guy, right? So 2009 is really Cashman's first World Series title in the eyes of a lot of Yankees fans. And it was CC Sabathia, Mark Teixeira, and AJ Burnett, like three big signings. And, you can say what you will about the other two because they all sort of fell off. They all contributed to the 2009 win. And, and CC battled some demons too. I mean, he wasn't without his challenges. I think he struggled with addiction. He had a lot of health issues. It's neither here nor there because he came back and reinvented himself, which is something that you really can't do that late in your career in just about every other sport. I think,
and in the market,
and in that absolutely, market. That's a great point. And in that market, because there's a short leash on some of these guys. I think because if he doesn't win the World Series in 2009, if he's not the class act that he is, I don't think the Yankees keep him around. But he was such a great guy. He was beloved by his teammates. Came out and competed every single time. I think every penny of that $161 million contract he signed was worth it. So kudos to CC, greatest free agent signing in Yankees history.
There it is. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Then for me, and I think I also I left Soto off the list just because it's brand new.
Yeah.
So he'll probably be number one, but I've seen some things as a Met fan, so Soto is my number one in waiting, but I had to go Carlos Beltran. With my number one because that guy, especially coming off that World Series he had, I think hurt him because, again, it was the expectations and people were just bashing that poor guy at the beginning, his first season. He did not have a good first year. He definitely got off to a bumpy start, but sign a 7-year, $120 or $119 million contract. That'll do it to you. But he kind of found a way to put it. He never let he was struggling at the plate, but he didn't let that affect his defense. And that's the old adage. He always Keith's number one concern is are you bringing your bad bout out on the field with you? And he didn't. And he figured it out, kind of year two or whatever. And just the middle of that lineup was just nasty when it was Beltran, Delgado, and Wright. That was just I don't think that we had a better sort of trio.
That's nasty. That's really nasty.
That is filthy. Yeah. but he was a monster. And say what you will, like the word Carlos Beltran comes up, and of course, you just have to think of the caught looking.
Keeping the bat on the shoulder there, Carlos.
Yeah, you got to go down swinging. But I mean, he's just a phenomenal player. And just so it's effortless. He's one of those players that just made everything look easy. And I think that was part of the problem too. Was that like, maybe he didn't look like he was trying, but everything came so naturally to him, or just seemed like it did. But just hell of a fielder, great bat. He was a phenomenal base stealer, and just did everything, all those things right. Look, we had a lot of misses on our free agents over the years, and he definitely was not one. And that was one where you're like, oh boy, here we go. Like, which direction is this one heading? Are we going to go down that, like the Bobby Bowe path, or, but no, Carlos was a hell of a Met, and we got Zach Wheeler for him too at the end.
Right.
That was his parting gift.
That's cool. Did not know that. Very neat.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. And here's hoping Soto is going to be the number one.
Let's talk about the Hall of Fame, because we got a couple of guys going in. I think two guys that meant a lot to our respective organizations. CC Sabathia, you just can't say enough good things about this guy. Just everything you could ask for in a starting pitcher. The performance that helped him ink this deal with the Yankees in 2000, in between the 2008-2009 seasons. He had been picked up by the Brewers at the trade deadline in 2008 and almost single-handedly propelled them to the postseason. I mean, I think he was taking the ball on like 3 days rest.
Yeah. He was like 9-2. He got like 11. Was he 9-2? Something like that. He had something ridiculous.
Something ridiculous in his short stint with the Brewers, but he pitched his ass off and, like I said, almost single-handedly propelled them to a playoff series. So kudos to CC. He is such a workhorse, one of the better left-handed pitchers in the game, in I think in the history of the game, and is well deserving of the honor.
And on our side of the coin, he's not going in as a Met, but we had Billy Wagner for I think 4 years. He was like, I know Francesa would always just moan about him in the playoffs, and he didn't have a particular good showing in the 2006 playoffs. But as far as closers go, like the Mets have had, we've been fairly lucky. Mariano, I think, just spoiled everyone, where you were just like, the game's over, and that's the gold standards. Like, can you just come in and just no questions asked, the game is going to be over? And did Billy blow his saves? Sure, but I mean, like, I don't think he ever had I'm sure he did, but like, I don't think he ever really had an ERA over 3. I know he didn't with the Mets, but I mean, he was just consistent year after year after year, just come in and save games, and low ERA, and he give up a couple home runs, but nothing too egregious. But he's just a workhorse, and he did it everywhere. Like, obviously with Houston, went to Philly, no problem, rock star there. Came to New York, rock star here. Even like, I think probably his best statistical season was his last one with Atlanta. I remember he was just like lights out in Atlanta at 39-ish, somewhere in there. And he just was nasty, like I want to say 1.74 ERA or something like that.
So close, 1.43.
Oh, geez.
Even better.
1.43. Even better.
Even better. But I mean,
here I am tacking a half a run on him.
Yeah. How dare you?
Yeah.
I mean, you're absolutely right. 69.1 innings pitched with 104 strikeouts at age 38.
Filthy. Yeah,
that is
30
silly.
38. Never won a World Series, which is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have a great playoff season with us in 2006. Traded by the Astros to the Phillies for Ezekiel Estacio, Taylor Buchholz, and Brandon Duckworth.
Any of those guys in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I don't think so. As far as
Last
I
I
can
checked.
recall, last I checked, Ezekiel Estasia's bronzing has not taken place. I will say though, baseball, like, there's just something about baseball names. Like, I swear, the baseball names are just phenomenal.
Well, you got one of the better ones in your system now, Dickie Lovelady. I mean, it's not going to get it much better.
Dick Lovelady.
Sorry, I can't. I just want that jersey, Lovelady, on the back of my shirt.
Oh yeah,
Lovelady.
You'll be the only one wearing it, so you should get it. Is he? Did we cut? Well, I think we cut him already.
Probably.
Yeah, I think we've cut him twice in like 2 weeks.
Oh, Dickie Lovelady, but lady don't love Dickie.
I love R.A. Dickie.
He was a stud. He was a stud.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it for us. A pleasure as always.
Always.
We'll do this again next week.
Let's.